Okay guys, so what we're going to do is have a look at some of the questions that come up in the primary, secondary and tertiary economic activities area. I'm going to post this as a document just for your information, and we are going to look at one or two of the questions and do them as sample answers. The rest of them is just there for your information, so you know the kind of questions that come up in this section, and if I was giving you a test, these would be the kind of questions that would be on it. So the first one you'll be very familiar with. Number 1, which one of the following lists contains only examples of processes that take place on a farm? Milking, slurry, tractor, harvesting, ploughing, sowing seeds, land, feeding animals, barley, wheat, labour, animal manure. So first of all, you all remember that processes usually end in ing. They're jobs that the farmer does. So we have harvesting, ploughing and sowing seeds. Now the second question. Indicate which 3 of the workers listed in the table below are employed in primary economic activities by circling the correct answers. So again, primary, they're taking something directly from the Earth's surface. Brewer, farmer, dentist, hairdresser, forestry worker, miner, teacher, baker and mechanic. So the answers here are your farmer, your forestry worker and your miner. Question 3. Circle the correct answer in each of the following statements. The clearing of forests is called deforestation. The clearing of forests increases the amount of soil erosion that could occur. And number 3, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increases due to the clearing of large areas of trees. Question 4. This is a nice one. So we have 3 graphs, pie charts rather, primary, secondary and tertiary, and we have a list of 5 different statements, and you are making sure that the statements match the graph. So indicate which 3 of the following statements are correct by ticking the correct answer. What I like to do is go through each of them and mark them T for true or F for false. So Brazil is the least developed of the 3 countries. So this is Brazil, and usually a developed country has a large tertiary sector. The more developed they are, the larger their tertiary sector. So this is false because Nepal is the least developed of these 3 countries. Nepal has the lowest percentage of workers employed in secondary economic activities. Well, let's have a look at that. Secondary is the pale yellow. So 3%, 24%, 23%. So number 2 is true. Brazil has just over half of its workforce employed in tertiary economic activities, 53%. So that's true. So 2 and 3. Nepal is the most developed of the 3 countries. That's false. And the USA has the lowest percentage of workers employed in primary economic activities. That is true. So it's 2, 3 and 5. So you tick this box 2, 3 and 5. Question 5. Sometimes an industry remains at its original location even though the reasons which led to its location there no longer exist. This is known as industrial inertia. Question 6. Examine the map above and answer each of the following questions. So name the country labelled X. That would be Saudi Arabia, and because it's name, it's just the answer. Name the source of energy most associated with country X. Again, because it's name, we just say oil. And part 3, describe 2 positive impacts that the exploitation of this source of energy has on country X. So number 1, oil revenue has allowed Saudi Arabia to develop its education and healthcare sectors. And point 2, oil revenues has allowed Saudi Arabia to develop its large cities such as Riyadh. So we're describing. They sell oil, they get revenues, and from that they are developing different sections of their economy. Question 7. Industry. State what is meant by the term a footloose industry. So a footloose industry is not tied to any one location. Name one example of a footloose industry. So we spoke a little bit about Apple in Cork. So Apple is an example of a footloose industry. And part 3, secondary economic activities can give rise to local conflicts. Name and explain an example of such a conflict. So we looked at the incinerator site in Dublin, and you would use that case study to answer this question. So you name the conflict, and then to explain, I would want you to give 3 points about this conflict. Question 8, we're just going to go as far as question 10. Question 8, secondary economic activities. Which one of the following list contains only examples of people involved in secondary economic activities? So a miner is primary, tour guide is tertiary, taxi driver is tertiary, forestry worker is primary. Singer is tertiary, farmer is primary, doctor is tertiary, teacher is tertiary. Baker is secondary, factory worker is secondary, brewer is secondary, cabinet maker is secondary. So you tick this box, and we'll just finish off the last list. Hairdresser, tertiary, dentist is tertiary, nurse is tertiary, and a bus driver is tertiary. Question 9. Examine the photographs above. State whether each of the photographs A, B, and C represent primary, secondary, or tertiary. So C is our farmer, so we write primary. B is a factory, manufacturing, so secondary. And A is guards providing a service, so we have tertiary. And then another quite familiar one, farming is a system with inputs, processes, and outputs. In the box below, circle 3 inputs on a farm. So we have harvesting, labour, sowing, capital, ploughing, wool, cheese, tractor, milking. So there are inputs, things that you need to put in when you're starting your farm. So capital, which is also money, a tractor, piece of equipment, and labour, work. Now we're going to have a look at doing a sample answer, which I will post on your page.